I need your help. Please subscribe my channel. The afternoon sunlight streamed through the living room blinds, casting stripes across the carpet where my son, Ethan, sat cross-legged with his toy cars. He was 8, all honesty and energy, the kind of boy who said please even to the dog. My mother sat rigidly on the couch, her purse perched perfectly on her lap, as if she were posing for some magazine shoot she believed she belonged in. She had come over unannounced, claiming she missed her grandson. I should have known trouble would follow. "Come here, Ethan," she said, her voice sharp enough to cut through the room. "What do you call me?" Ethan looked up, blinking. Hi." Her eyes narrowed. "Hi. Not Grandma. What has your mother taught you? That elders don't deserve respect." I froze halfway between the kitchen and the hallway. "Mom, he's just a child." He said hi. Before I could react, her hand shot up. The heel of her shoe struck Ethan's tiny shoulder, then hit the floor with a sharp crack that made the silence heavier than any sound. He flinched, his little car scattering like casualties. "Mom!" I yelled. "What are you doing?" She didn't even glance at me. "Maybe this will teach him how to address adults properly. You've been far too soft on him, Lisa. That's why he's turning out just like you." Ethan was crying now, clutching his arm, and the sound tore something from inside me. I ran to him and held him close, glaring up at her. "You don't touch my son," I said, my voice trembling. "Oh, please," she scoffed, smoothing her skirt as though she had spilled tea. "Don't be dramatic. A shoe won't hurt him, but your lack of discipline might." She surveyed my tiny apartment with disdain, eyes grazing the mismatched furniture, the half-painted walls, the drying dishes. "You live like this and you think you can lecture me on raising children? Feed me for 25 years? I whispered. "You starved me of everything that mattered." Her smile was sharp, cruel. "And look how tough that made you." Ethan pressed against my side, shivering. "Mommy, can we go?" I moved toward the door, but she snapped. "You walk away from me again and don't think of coming back. Remember, Lisa, family is all you've got." I looked back at her, composed, hands folded, guiltless. "You keep saying that as if it's a blessing," I murmured. "But every time I believe you, I lose a piece of myself." She laughed, harsh and cold. "You always had too many pieces anyway. No wonder no man wants you." The words hit harder than her shoe ever could. I didn't answer. I simply took Ethan's hand, opened the door and walked out. "Behind us," she yelled. "You'll regret this when he grows up and forgets you too." We lingered in the parking lot for a long moment, the air thick with her echoing voice. Ethan wiped his face with his sleeve. "Did I do something wrong, Mom?" he asked softly. I knelt beside him. "No, baby. You did nothing wrong. Some people hurt others because they can't handle being ignored." He nodded slowly, confusion still clouding his small eyes. He couldn't understand yet, but I did. And at that moment, something inside me snapped, deeper than patience had ever allowed. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling long after Ethan had drifted to sleep. My phone lit up twice with her name, Mom. I ignored it. Not that night. Not the next day. Not the week after. She left voicemails, all dressed up in guilt masquerading as love. "He needs to learn manners. You're ruining him." A good mother wouldn't keep her child from his grandmother. Each one cut, small but relentless. Then came the message that lit the fuse. "If you won't raise him right, I will. I'm calling the school tomorrow. Don't think I won't." My hands shook. She had crossed a line she could never uncross. I went to Ethan's room, watching him sleep, and whispered a promise into the dark. "You'll never cry because of her again." I didn't know exactly what form my revenge would take yet, but I knew this. It would not be poetic. It would be precise, deliberate, real. Something she would feel every single day, the same way I had felt her control for years. And this time she would never see it coming. The days after that visit were quieter than usual, the kind of silence that hums under your skin. Ethan stopped asking about Grandma. He simply drew smaller at the table, shoulders curled, eyes constantly darting toward the door at every knock. I tried to keep things normal, school, park, groceries, but every time I heard a voice with that same sharp edge, or saw a woman with gray hair, my body tensed. Then, on a Friday morning, the school called. "Mrs. Brooks, your son was picked up early today," the secretary said. His grandmother said she had permission. My blood ran cold. I drove faster than I ever had. When I reached my mother's house, there was Ethan, sitting on the couch with a juice box, looking tiny and uncertain. She smiled like she had done me a favor. "You're welcome," she said. "He missed me. I'm teaching him manners again." I stared at her. "You took him without telling me." Her smile didn't falter. "You're overreacting," she said, voice tight with insistence. "You left him with the teachers. I'm his family. That should mean something, shouldn't it?" Ethan's lip quivered. "She said you told her it was okay." My chest tightened. "Mom, you lied to him." She laughed, low and bitter. "Lied? Lisa, you've been lying to yourself for years. Pretending you're better than how you were raised. But look at you. Alone, drained. Raising a boy who doesn't even know how to respect his elders." I gripped Ethan's small hand. "We're leaving." She stepped into the doorway, blocking us. "Not until you apologize for how you spoke to me. I'm your mother. You owe me that." Her words landed heavy, as they always had, suffocating. But something inside me had shifted. I was no longer the frightened little girl I once was. I met her gaze steadily. "You lost the right to call yourself that when you hit my child." For the first time she blinked. Just a small flicker, but it was enough. The mask cracked. I moved past her, guiding Ethan out, shaking but controlled. As we reached the car, she called after us, sharp and threatening. "You'll regret this. No one disrespects me," and walks away. That night, after Ethan had gone to bed, I dug out my old storage box, the one packed with memories I had tried to forget. School records, hospital papers, the photo of me at 8 with a split lip, the one she'd said I deserved. 4 years. I'd hidden the truth to protect her image. Now she had dragged my son into the same cycle. I couldn't allow that. I went through everything. Documents, photos, evidence of the abuse. Medical visits labeled as accidents, school reports noting parental conflicts, old messages where she called me worthless, lazy, unfit. I had buried all of it until now. The next morning, I went to the community center where she volunteered. She was at the front desk, smiling for everyone, radiating fake charm, talking about her love for helping children. I waited until her eyes met mine, and the smile faltered. "Lisa," she said slowly, "what are you doing here?" I placed a manila envelope on the counter. "This is what you taught me," I said softly. "To stand up." Inside were scans of every record, every photo, every piece of evidence. I didn't post it online. I didn't speak a word. I handed it to the board director, an older woman who had known my mother for years. By the next week, her volunteer position was gone. The board called it a necessary review. Neighbors stopped visiting. Whispers followed her. A few days later, she showed up at my apartment. Hair disheveled, fury barely contained. "You humiliated me," she hissed. "You turned my life into dirt." I met her calmly. "You taught me how respect works, remember?" Her voice broke. "You're nothing without me." I smiled faintly. "Maybe. But at least I'm not afraid anymore." She stormed out, slamming the door. For once, her words didn't echo inside me. They bounced off like stones against steel. That night, Ethan curled beside me on the couch, whispering, "Mom, she won't hit me again, right?" I wrapped an arm around him. "No, baby," I said quietly. "No one ever will." But deep down I knew it wasn't over. My mother had always been skilled at retaliation. I could feel the storm building, but this time I would be ready. 3 weeks later, the storm finally came. It began with a call from her neighbor. "Lisa," she said softly, "your mother has been sitting on the porch for hours. She doesn't talk to anyone." I didn't know what to feel. Pity clashed with anger. I pictured Ethan's terrified face the day she raised that shoe. Yet a part of me still sought closure. Not forgiveness. Just peace. So one gray Sunday, I returned to the house I had sworn never to enter again. The yard was wild, overgrown. The porch light flickered like it was too tired to shine. My mother sat on the steps, smaller, thinner, strangely human for the first time. "You finally came," she rasped. "Everyone's gone. They think I'm crazy. You did this to me." I swallowed hard. "You did it to yourself." Her eyes filled with a mix of fear and fury. "You made me lose everything. The church, my friends, my reputation. You hit my son, Mom." My voice shook, but I held steady. You humiliated me for years. You broke things in me I'm still trying to fix. You turned love into fear. I didn't destroy your life. I just stopped protecting your version of it." She was silent for a long moment. Then she laughed, dry and bitter. "You sound just like your father." "No," I said quietly. "I sound like a mother protecting her child." Her hand trembled. "You'll regret this, Lisa. One day he'll leave you, and he'll see everything you tried to hide." I stepped closer, my voice firm. "If he leaves, it'll be because he's free, not afraid." She didn't respond, turning her head away, muttering to herself, "Disrespect. Always disrespect." I walked back to the car, heart racing, but lighter than it had been in years. Ethan was waiting in the back seat, clutching his stuffed fox. "Did she yell at you, Mom?" he asked. I smiled faintly. "No, not anymore." He looked relieved. As we drove away, I realized it was the first time he hadn't been scared of family. That mattered far more than any revenge. Life has a way of circling back. 2 months later, the school announced a family respect assembly. Parents were encouraged to speak on values. I nearly skipped it until I saw the flyer. Guest speaker: Mrs. Brooks, community advocate for family discipline. My blood boiled. Somehow she had clawed her way back into public view. That night I couldn't sleep. I retrieved the old envelope and added one more thing. A short letter in my own words. Not angry, just truthful. It described growing up in fear, years of emotional abuse, and the day she hit her grandson. The morning of the assembly, I slipped the envelope into the handouts. When she walked on stage, smiling, holding the microphone like a crown, I stayed in the back row watching. 10 minutes in, murmurs spread through the crowd. Parents opened the envelope, eyes widening at the contents. Her voice wavered, then stopped. "Mrs. Brooks," someone asked, "is this true?" For once words failed her. The silence that followed was heavy, the kind that shatters reputations. I didn't stay to see more. I stepped outside into sunlight, where Ethan waited with his backpack. "Can we go to the park now?" he asked. "Yeah," I said softly. "We can go anywhere we want." As we walked away, faint echoes from inside followed. My mother's trembling voice, trying to explain what could not be explained. For years she demanded respect through fear. Now all she had left was the echo of her own cruelty. And for the first time I was no longer her daughter. I was just free.